In the year 2041, amid escalating social and economic inequality, violent crime rates have surged. To address this, the government now grants citizens the right to be revived in cases of unnatural death. Detective Emma gets a lead on a case and heads to the location. Her team informs her that they only have one clue: the name Florence. Using scanning drones, they search the building but find nothing. Suddenly, a gunshot rings out, and Emma realizes someone has just been killed inside. She rushes in, ignoring her team's attempt to hold her back. Climbing up, she confronts a man trying to flee after committing murder. He taunts her, claiming that even with a restoration point, she's afraid. She tries to negotiate, but he offers her two choices: let him escape or watch him end his own life. He ultimately jumps from the building, taking his own life. Later, Emma returns home, plays the piano, and listens to an old message from her boyfriend. She prepares for her next day of work. On her car radio, a report states that the recent attack was linked to the same terrorist group, River of Life, responsible for a previous bus attack. Meanwhile, Carol Rohan, director of the Restoration Institute, is holding a conference regarding the possible privatization of their company. At the office, Emma's boss reprimands her for not following orders. She argues that waiting wouldn't have changed anything, as the terrorist waited until the restoration point expired before killing his victim. Her superior informs her that Europol has taken over the case and is scrutinizing her actions, suspecting personal motives. He then mentions her boyfriend, Peter, and asks how long it's been since his death, subtly questioning if her involvement is personal. He reassures her, however, and hands her a new case, suggesting it could lead her closer to the terrorist group. She assures him she's ready to work as part of the team. Emma arrives at a new crime scene where a researcher from Restoration Point and his wife have been murdered. She's shocked to learn they had no valid restoration points, despite being insured. She declares it a deliberate murder, and news spreads quickly. At a press conference, Rohan claims that privatizing their company would allow people to choose the best restoration package. When Emma tries to question him, he deflects, suggesting she talk to Dr. Lejarova, a former colleague of the murdered researcher, David. Emma questions Lejarova, who takes her to witness a young boy being restored to life. Emma sees the grieving parents of a girl who couldn't be revived due to irregular backups. Lejarova explains that David wanted real-time backups for situations like this. When Emma asks why David didn't have a backup himself, Lejarova reveals it was hacked and erased, and his wife hadn't backed up in months. As she digs through the dead couple's files, Emma finds a suspect, Toffer, who was previously linked to the terrorist group but freed for lack of evidence. Discovering a similar necklace on him as the one found at the crime scene, she secures a warrant for his arrest. Just as she's leaving, David appears, shocking her. She demands he come to the station, but he insists he can't, revealing that Rohan restored him from a 6-month-old backup with flaws that mean he won't survive long. He confesses to a memory gap of the past 6 months. Emma takes him to Toffer's place, locking him in the car. However, when David finds out that this is the same man who killed his wife, he manages to escape the car, and this disrupts her operation, allowing the suspect to escape. David slips away as backup arrives, but tells Emma to meet him an hour later. At the scene, Europol officer Mansfield, impressed by her quick work, suggests she kill Toffer if she encounters him again due to his dangerous nature. Later, Emma meets David, who explains that 3 digital keys control the system, one with him, one with Rohan, and one in a safe. They go to his house and discover his backup was attacked by a virus that's corrupting restoration points across the city, leaving many people vulnerable. They find videos and an injection, but have to flee when Europol arrives. David later tells Emma that anyone restored from a backup older than 48 hours needs the injections to survive. While watching old videos, he learns that his wife was unfaithful. Devastated, he asks Emma if his sadness will ever fade. She responds that she'll let him know when she experiences it herself, hinting at her own past. As Emma questions Mansfield and Rohan, she realizes that Rohan revived David to combat the hacker Topher, but suspects Rohan's motivations are driven by profit rather than altruism. Later, while Emma and David talk, Mansfield arrives at her home and demands to know where David is. She pretends to be oblivious, but he starts making unpleasant remarks about David's wife, which frustrates David, prompting him to charge at Mansfield. The agent intercepts David, threatening Emma that if she tries to intervene, he'll shoot her, and since she hasn't backed up in the last 28 hours, she would wake up with no memory of today. Emma plays a recording of her late husband, which distracts Mansfield just enough for her to grab his gun. With David's help, they manage to overpower Mansfield, and Emma ultimately shoots him. They then escape in Emma's vintage car, leaving her police car as a decoy. She tells David they need to stop Rohan before he finds Topher, as they must keep the virus hidden at all costs. Later, Emma and David head to a shady place to obtain a scanner and an untraceable phone from a tech merchant. Equipped with these, they begin searching for Topher, using the scanner to locate a house where he was recently photographed. They discover that the woman in the photo is his aunt. When they visit Topher's aunt, she knows they're fugitives, and Emma questions whether she'll turn them in. The aunt responds that without a phone or internet, they live free. Emma presses her about Topher, and the aunt says he left 2 years ago, feeling he didn't belong anywhere. Emma asks about the terrorist group River of Life, and the aunt suggests it might not even exist, implying it could be part of Rohan's deception. They decide to rest there. David plays the piano, explaining that a new experimental program allows skills to be introduced via restore points, and it's his first time playing. He jokes about the dangers, admitting it works at least. That night, Emma, feeling uneasy without a recent backup, decides to stay in the car. David remarks that she's experiencing the fear of mortality as she's risking her existence without a restore point. He then finds Emma's husband's backup in the glove compartment and inquires about him. She reveals that the River of Life took 50 people hostage, including her husband, and killed one every hour, with her husband being the last. Because backups need to happen within 48 hours of death, he had no restore point. The government kept this quiet to protect the reputation of the restore point system. While they're talking in the woods, they see a car leaving town. Emma realizes the aunt lied, as the recent photo showed Topher there only a month ago. They follow the aunt to a hidden room and confront her. Though initially distrustful, she eventually allows Emma to speak with Topher. Emma finds Topher and tries to arrest him, but he claims innocence, insisting Rohan is the true founder of River of Life. He explains that the group's attacks provoke fear of imminent death, encouraging people to back up more frequently, which benefits the company financially. He says he gave proof of this to David's wife, leading to her death. Meanwhile, David isn't feeling well, so the aunt offers him some water, but then takes him hostage and demands that Emma free her nephew or she will kill David. Emma releases Topher, but a chase begins once she notices he's trying to escape. He jumps, lands in front of a car, and ends up seriously injured. Emma realizes this is her only chance and begins backing up his consciousness into the restoration system. She finishes just in time, moments before he dies, and David rushes to find materials to block signals, ensuring the backup doesn't alert Rohan to their location. Since they need to restore Topher, they consider where they can take him safely, as the restoration facility is too dangerous. David decides to bring him to his old university, using the prototype machine that was the origin of the entire restore point concept, and there they initiate the restoration process. Emma shares what Topher told her in the church. David replies that if it's true, he would rather not know, acknowledging that they profited greatly from the terrorist attacks, and that it even fueled their marketing since they managed to restore all those killed by the group. As they restore Topher, Emma questions David about Rohan, and he responds that if he had known about it, he would never have helped him. His job is to save lives, and he couldn't live with the knowledge of what Rohan did. He adds that saving the man who killed his wife is proof of his own innocence. After successfully restoring Topher, Emma urges David to back himself up and create a new restore point to avoid losing his memories again. The Institute picks up on unusual activity near the university and informs Rohan, who assures them it's nothing but secretly alerts his men that he knows where David is hiding. Meanwhile, David completes his backup and encourages Emma to do the same. Topher regains consciousness and questions why they restored him. They explain that they need his help to expose Rohan's guilt. Topher reveals it's not the virus he injected into the system, but rather what he took out: encrypted crypto transactions of Rohan's payments to the River of Life for each terrorist attack, implicating Rohan as the mastermind. Topher explains he shared these files with David's wife, intending for her to show them to David, as it would be more credible coming from someone high up in Rohan's company. Topher then reveals how she was murdered. He claims that David killed her and intended to restore her to 6 months earlier, before she met Topher, out of jealousy, feeling she was drifting toward another man. However, when Topher arrived at the scene, she refused to be restored, so he destroyed her backup to honor her final wish. Emma believes this since David had injections at home originally intended for his wife to cope with the side effects of a 6-month memory gap. Emma begins backing up, but Agent Mansfield arrives. She and David learn that Mansfield is merely Rohan's lackey, upholding the status quo Rohan designed. Mansfield kills them all, believing they lack a restore point, and provides Rohan with the safe's code. But just before dying, Emma managed to contact her superior about the scheme. Her superior reaches David's house, and as Rohan opens the safe, he is arrested. Fortunately, Emma backed up before she was shot and is subsequently restored. Rohan and Mansfield are taken into custody, while the government decides to release David, preferring someone trustworthy to lead the new Restore Point Institute. David continues to live with the 6-month gap in his memory, slightly easing the pain of his choice to end his wife's life. Since he remembers nothing from those 6 months, the law gives him the benefit of the doubt and declares him not guilty. Emma gives him his wife's expired restore point as a reminder of the devastating decision he made before his own restoration. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. Thank you for watching.